Hey, this is Eric with Survival Sullivan, and we're looking at sling bows. The gadget some guy come up with. It's a slingshot modified to shoot an arrow. The first one we'll look at is kind of store-bought, where you can go to Walmart and buy this wrist rocket slingshot for like $6 or $7, and then this bow arrow rest that goes on a compound bow. It's called a whisker biscuit. These are $10 online on Amazon. They're like $40 in the store, but if you buy one online, you can get one for like $10. And so it's like $16 to make this one. The other one I made from a piece of plywood, and it has a Barnett brand replacement bands for slingshot. I took the patch off of it to make it exclusively for shooting arrows. Just put a piece of paracord on there. You can knock the arrow in there and you shoot. What I found between the two of these is this one shoots a lot lower than this when you're aiming. So like any other kind of instrument that sends a projectile, they shoot differently. So whenever you make one, you know, you'll have to practice with it, get accustomed to how it shoots so you can be accurate with it. The arrow knocks back here on this piece of paracord that I've run through the patch, and then it sets in the rest like that. And you grab that knot and you pull back. Let it fly. So we'll look at how to make this one and shoot it coming up next. Today we're doing a sling bow. It's pretty simple to make actually, and let's look down here and I'll explain it. This is a piece of 1/2-inch plywood, and I cut this shape out just to kind of be ergonomic. It's wrapped with paracord. Just made a little loop there just so you can kind of carry it on your wrist. This is a replacement band from Barnett slingshot. You slide that through the hole, put those tips in to hold it. I used it before and it seemed pretty strong, and then I cut about almost an inch off the bands to try to make it a little stronger. As you can see, I drilled those holes first and it wasn't working as well, and I found that you need to drill the holes for the bands parallel with the arrow rest, then you get a good straight shot. Back here, all I did, I modified the pouch by putting this piece of paracord through it, and the arrow clips on right there, and you pull back on that knot. So I'll demonstrate. I have to go stand it up. So that's a good 8 inches of penetration, and it knocked the block over. So let's try again. Let's try with a hunting tip. Let's see how that does. You clip it on. You clip it on one way and you'll have two of the fletchings will be flat, and you need that to travel through. If you have it the other way, where one of the fletchings is pointing down, that'll affect your shot. Hunting tip acts a little differently. Practice with it again. Get a little more drop on it. clipped all the way on. Knocked it over again. Let me go get these. As you can see, I got a pretty consistent penetration. I guess that's about 8 inches of penetration with it. So it took about a half hour to maybe an hour tops to make it. Just cut that design out of a piece of plywood, drill those holes, mount the rubber tubing, you stick that through, then put those ends in, and that wedges it and holds it. Those come with the tubing when you buy it. It's $5 at Academy Sports, those tubings. And then tie that piece of paracord on there, get a good knot so you got something to hold on to. And that's about all it takes, and you have a sling bow. So to make the one little sling bow that I shot out there, I'm gonna try to video this with one hand and cut with the other. But take the piece of plywood, you got your design marked out on it. Rough cut to the line. You don't have to be exactly on it the first time. You just have to get close, because you can finish it up, do a final trim on it, sand it and all that. Usually better not to back out when you're cutting with a scroll saw, but since I'm doing this one-handed, it's a little more difficult. And you don't have to use a scroll saw. You can cut this out with a hand saw if that's all you got. You can cut it out with a jigsaw or hand saw. If you got to whittle it out with your knife, whatever it takes to get it done, you know. It doesn't have to be perfect. Like I said, you refine it and you get back. Rest with the sandpaper. Sometimes you can turn the corner, sit there and go back and forth to get your little knot. Sometimes you can't. Sometimes the blade comes off, because when you're doing it one-handed, it's a lot harder to do. We're going to muscle through it. And I had to turn the light off because the blade slipped off, because I'm doing it one-handed. So anyway, now I just got to cut out that part there, drill those 2 holes, give it a little sanding, paracord wrap. Let's cut and come back. Okay, so we're talking about sling bows this week, and I showed you where I cut this one out. Now it's finished. So I added these bands to it and the pull string. Like I say, you knock the arrow on that. So after I made these wooden ones, they had so much tension it's hard to pull them back. And I was thinking about the one that supports on your wrist, and it supports well, but that one didn't shoot very good. So I made one out of wire. It's not much to look at, but it actually shoots better than any of the other ones. It's stronger and shoots straighter. But this totals 4 that I've made, and like I said, I found that each one that you make shoots a little different, so you have to practice with them. So we'll take a couple shots at these and see how they do. The wrist rocket, it goes through, it supports on your arm. That way you have more, you get more tension into it. The wooden one that I made, it's got those same bands on it, and it's so hard to draw back with those bands. That's another thing I noticed on the arrows. All of them have slightly different sized nocks. Some clip on the paracord quite well, and some don't clip on at all. So let's see some penetration. So you can see the one I made from wire, it's getting about 8 inches of penetration. And the other one with the other green band, the wooden one, it got about 6 inches, but I couldn't hardly pull it back. So if there was a way, if I made a way to support it on my wrist, then it would be easier to draw back. But out of all of them that I'm gonna show in the article that I made, and out of all of them that you've seen me shoot in the video, this one's my favorite. It's not the best one to look at, but it's the easiest one to shoot, and it's the strongest one. So there you go. That's a quick and easy way to make a weapon. You can make a bunch of these and arm your whole family with these things real easily and cheaply. And if you make the ones like these wooden paddle ones here, I mean, that's so small, you can just carry it right in your back pocket or backpack. And they're really easy to make and cheap. This one's cost a few dollars to make. The metal one, the rod, I paid $4 for the rod, but if you just find some metal rod somewhere, you can make it out of anything you can find. Just use what you have on hand and use your mind and think about things, and you can always come up with some kind of weapon.